Greetings and salutations, my name is JW608 and today I am playing StarMade. And today I have a veracity for velocity. That is, we want to build the fastest ship we can. Now, I'm not overly concerned with much of anything other than we're just going to build a ship that will move the most agile thing we can physically create. Defense, logistics, mass. Well, I don't think logistics will actually help us. And I did want one of these. There we go. So make a ship. And let's give it let's give it 9 large reactor. Why 9 large reactor? Because 9, I believe it's 9 or is it 10? Is it's 10. Yeah, 10 is the most you need for 100 stabilization. And it's a nice roundish number. 10. So we're going to give it 10. 10 velocity. And let's see. Thrusters. Let's add a few thrusters. I would like to make sure that I am at my max speed is, or my thrust to mash is 2.5. My thrust to mash is 2.5. Thrust to mass is 2.5, so we're just going to give a overabundance of thrusters. Like, way too many thrusters. Like, this is going to be too expensive to run now. Well, that's fine. What do you mean by thrust to mass ratio? Right, you'll notice we have thrust. We have a thrust rating of 349.2. Well, the mass of the vessel is 12. So, actually, let's get rid of all this. And we'll talk about the various elements of speed, or velocity. Right now, we have a 0 thrust to mass, because we're producing 0 thrust. Remember, our mass is 4.1. Now, mass to thrust is, or thrust to mass is going to be a little tricky, because adding reactors adds thrust, or adds mass. So 4.1. Now we have a thrust of 8. Our mass is 4.2. So our thrust is almost twice our mass. So we have a thrust to mass ratio of 1.9. So this is telling you the amount of thrust you're generating. Now we're at 2.5 because we're producing 14 thrust and we only have 4.3 mass. And notice as we're adding thrusters, we are adding mass, but we're adding more thrust than we are mass, so that's fine. Now, you may be thinking, well, there's something wrong here. You may be thinking that because you're saying my thrust go up to 164.6, 184, but my mass is 8, so that should be like a whole bunch more than 2.5. That's because StarMade caps your thrust to mass ratio at 2.5. So having thrusters more than 2.5 does not actually help you. This determines the consumption and, well, actually the number of thrusters determine consumption, but it determines your max speed, the thrust to mass. So at 2.5 we get our full server default of 225 meters per second. So I can accelerate and I can hit 225 meters per second. There are ways to make it faster. And we're going to look at least one of those ways today. And one of those ways is through chambers. Let's see, how big of a chamber? Oh, just 2? Alright, so mobility chambers, they can do nifty things like give us top speed, thrust blast, which I've never actually used, and I don't think the AI can use it, so I'm not going to worry about that. Anti-gravity, which is the old stop block for you old people there. Turn rate, which I'm going to look into, and thrust configuration apply speed 1. What on earth is thrust configuration apply speed 1? Well, if you hold down your tab, you can get to this menu. If you go to ship thrusters, this is your thrust management menu. You can tell how much of your thrust goes left to right, back, forward. So if I do like this, my ship can basically move forward and back. See, I'm going to hold down left and right. It does do that. But it's going to accelerate, well, this tiny ship. Oh no, I'm recalibrating thrusters still. See at the top left? Recalibrating thrusters. Now, when I hold down left and right, notice how much I'm accelerating. I'm holding down the A key. Not very fast. But I'm accelerating forward and backwards much, much faster. In fact, holding down shift to brake takes that long. Tapping S takes me... It's faster to throw it in reverse than it is to brake. That's what that does. So this... Now, if I don't want this ship to move forward and back very quickly, I can do left and right here. So... And there are handy buttons so I can all forward, all up and down, all left and right. Now let's do reset, except I would like more focus on forward and backwards. Let's give it like 75%. Rotational thrusters, and you can inherit thrusters from docks. So if I have a docked entity that has thrusters on it, by default, my main ship ignores those thrusters. You can turn this on if you have a docked entity, and you can inherit the thrust from your docked entity into the main ship, so you can have like docked thrusters. So then the docked ship can pay for its mass and thrust. See, there's repulsors, which are something totally different, and rotational thrusters. I believe that is rotational. So if I were to up the rotational thrusters, I think that's rotational thrusters. Well, let's set it to 0. And recalibrating thrusters is going to take 14 seconds for these changes to take place. That is what the that chamber does. It reduces that time. So if you like to change your thruster settings quickly on the go, then that's what you use that chamber. And notice how much slower my turn rotation is. My turn rotation? My rotation is. That's not what I wanted. Go away. So ship, thrusters. Let's do everything to rotational thrusters. See how slowly I'm moving. On 6 seconds, 4 seconds, we're going to do a little faster. That is... Now, again, this is not a ship of tremendous mass, so it's a little snappier whatever I do to it than anything. But, that does still maintain proper forward and backiness. Holding down shift no longer brakes. That's interesting. So let's just go back to ship thrusters and set that back to, what was it, 50%? Let's do... Yeah, I want 50... Let's do 55%. And it's going to take 10 seconds now to reset. Now my brakes are out, basically. I'm holding down shift. See how quickly I'm going down? There we go. Alright. That's some fun you can have with thrust settings. But, let's see, top speed. My max speed is 225.0. But, if we specify this chamber as a top speed went to 247. Level that up. 292. Level it up again. 360. So, I can make 360 with this ship. And I can use that to run circles around just about everything. Get it? 360, run circles. Anyway, what was I saying? Thrusters. So, this is the fastest ship that you can make in-game. I mean, just pure acceleration and top speed. Well, actually, you can get the acceleration better by tinkering with the thruster settings. I've never done much with that. But anyway, and I think that's acceleration in the thruster settings. This has to do with acceleration as opposed to top speed. This has nothing to do with top speed. Because even though my left and right is slower to accelerate, I'm still going to hit top speed moving left by holding down the left key. Whether or not oh. Need a brake. I'm trying to hold down S to stop from moving left, and that wasn't working. Now, this is also determined by the server settings. My single-player world, and even single-player worlds, are actually servers. But in this single-player world, my setting is a default for speed. But you can set the max speed to 1,000 meters per second. I wouldn't do that because it'd probably cause all types of horrible things. I also would like the turn rate. Oh, this increases, adds 12% to thruster turn rate. Well, let's add that. Right, so that's not bad for turn rate. So let's bump it up. That feels a little snappier. Whether or not it is, or if that picks up on camera, I don't know. But it feels a little snappier, if you will. Let's see. Now, this is not actually the top speed, though. I may have told you an untruth. There is a way to move faster. And that way is through black holes. Of course, use wormholes or black holes. You can move really, really fast. Yeah. Let's see. Let's hit C to center. Take a look at my maximum speed. I'm accelerating toward that black hole. Let's help ourselves a little. And warp. Alright, take a look at my top speed now. I'm at 490, 500, 550, 570, 590, 600. I passed 608. Why is that? Because the black hole is pulling me in. You can try to fight it. You notice I'm not doing a very good job at fighting it. In fact, let's just hit the brakes. Hit the brakes, and I've just released my hands off the keyboard, off the mouse, and I'm already moving at 100 meters per second that way. That's because the black hole is pulling me in. Where's the black hole? Is that it? That's it. There we go. Oh! Ah! No, StarMade! Don't do that. It dropped to desktop for whatever reason. Alright, let's admin warp here. Ah, I'm not admin warping. Cool. But that's a way to top it off. See, we're moving 800 meters per second. Now, oh, we're getting a heat warning from a black hole? Huh. 1100, 1200. Yeah, we're moving now. Black holes are collapsed stars, and they act like stars. That's why it's giving us the heat warning. I don't think it's actually going to heat us. Time and space is warping. Eee. And I'm moving almost 2,000, well, 1,500. Oh, I'm slowing down. And this spits us out wherever else in this unexplored space. Oh. And now I have the problem of having to slow down. Yeah. Am I moving? Okay, I'm moving away from the black hole, so that's one good thing. So you can use wormholes and black holes to break the speed limit, but it's not tremendously reliable. Where's my ship? Oh, there it is. It's not tremendously reliable because it pulls you to the center. So I guess if you're a really good pilot, you are really intelligent, you might find out a way to use it as a slingshot. But it's going to be very situational, and if you get trapped in it, then you're just done. So it looks like this one does... Oh no, I just haven't mapped the ways out. Alright. Well, that has been a slight demonstration of speed, and basically what we're going to... we're basically going to build this when we build our interceptor with larger power capacity, but this is going to be the basic module setup. Lots of turn rate, lots of top speed. We'll have to tinker with the thruster settings. Yeah. But that's only 50% of reactor capacity, so we could add something else. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Anywho, I have been JW608. This has been StarMade. I'll dig you cats later.